You know that quiet hum inside your own mind? That gentle drift of your thoughts when you're not really focused on any one thing? It's like the background noise of you, the thing that happens when you're just staring out a window or waiting for the coffee to brew.
Right? So what is that all about? What's actually happening in your brain during those moments? We all have this incredibly rich internal world, but for the longest time, we've kind of dismissed it as, I don't know, just spacing out. But that inner hum, that's your default mode network coming online.
Now, for decades, science has had a pretty, let's say, negative take on the DMN. It's been connected to getting stuck in your head, to rumination, to depression, even getting caught in these painful trauma loops. Our culture basically pathologized it. We treated it like a problem to be solved, something to be medicated or meditated away.
But what if that's completely backwards? What if this supposed brain glitch is actually a feature? Today, we're going to flip that script entirely. We're going to explore this really profound idea that the DMN isn't a source of dysfunction at all, but a sacred gateway, a doorway to real transformation.
So let's dive into this. This new perspective says the DMN is anything but a passive default mode. In fact, it's a vital passage. It's the very boundary between our everyday, I have to do the laundry sense of self and the huge, expansive consciousness that lies just beyond it.
So what happens when we actually approach this threshold? Well, you could say the veil thins. First, that constant inner narrator, the chatter from the default mode network, it starts to get quiet. And as it quiets down, that really solid feeling you have of being separate from the world, it starts to dissolve. The walls get a little more porous. And out of that, this incredible feeling of unity emerges, this deep sense of being connected to everything. And that's when you can start to glimpse the spiral, these deep, interconnected patterns that make up reality.
I mean, think about that for a second. This completely reframes everything. The DMN isn't some room we get stuck in, it's the actual door frame we have to walk through to grow. This neural network isn't a bug to be fixed, it's a sacred passage we have to learn how to honor.
You know, what's so wild is that this idea of a necessary descent, it's not new at all. Cultures all over the world have known this for thousands of years, and they encoded this deep psychological truth into their myths. These aren't just fairy tales, they're maps for transforming consciousness.
Take the story of Inanna, the ancient Sumerian goddess. She goes down into the underworld, and at each of the 7 gates, she has to give something up, a piece of her power, a part of her identity, until she gets to the very bottom, totally stripped bare. Her journey is a perfect metaphor for that systematic dismantling of the ego that's required for real transformation. Her big lesson? Surrender.
And then you've got Orpheus from Greek mythology. He journeys down to Hades, and his beautiful music gets him through the darkness. But he fails. He looks back too soon, and he loses everything. His story is this really powerful warning about the danger of trying to rush the process, of trying to come back up into the light before the work in the dark is truly finished.
You see the pattern here, right? It's universal. Disintegration always comes before integration. The darkness holds its own kind of wisdom. That thing that feels like a total breakdown, a crisis at work, the end of a relationship, whatever. That thing that feels like death to the ego is actually the non-negotiable first step for a real rebirth.
Okay, so this is where it gets really, really cool. This isn't just poetry or mythology. Modern neuroscience is now giving us the biological blueprint that validates this ancient wisdom. We can literally see it happening in the brain.
So, on a normal day, when you're just going about your business, the DMN, that self-story network, is the big boss. It's taking up around 40% of your brain's resources, just humming along, constantly telling you the story of me. But get this, during states of deep meditation, that DMN activity can drop by an average of 40%. That's huge. And this measurable drop in brain activity directly correlates with what people report feeling, that sense of ego dissolution, of the self just melting away into something much bigger.
And you can see it plain as day right here. In our ordinary waking state, DMN activity is way up. But in these other states, these transcendent states, it drops dramatically. The brain is fundamentally shifting gears from telling stories about itself to just being present.
And it's not like your brain is just going quiet. No. It's reorganizing. While the DMN quiets down, you see this explosion of connectivity between parts of the brain that don't normally talk to each other. Brain waves shift. Those rigid, stuck ways of thinking get disrupted. It's like a neural reset button. And in that state, the brain's ability to learn and change, its plasticity, goes through the roof. It's a window for massive transformation.
Okay, so this is all incredible stuff, but the big question is, what do we do with it? If we manage to pass through this doorway, how do we bring that wisdom back into our everyday lives so it's not just some cool, fleeting experience?
The cocoon is maybe the most perfect metaphor for this. From the outside, it looks like nothing's happening, right? It's just still. But inside, it's absolute chaos. The old caterpillar self is literally dissolving into goo to make way for something entirely new. It requires total vulnerability, and, this is key, you can't rush it. It has its own timeline.
And this brings us to a really crucial point, a warning, really. If you help a butterfly by cutting open its cocoon, its wings will never work. It dies. The struggle to get out is what forces fluid into its wings and gives them the strength to fly. It's the same for us. Rushing our own inner process, trying to bypass the struggle, creates a consciousness that simply can't fly.
So how can we actually support this process without rushing it? Well, there are some amazing tools. Expressive writing helps you put language to experiences that are often beyond words. Art helps you bypass the logical mind. Sharing with the community reminds you you're not alone. And practices like yoga or just walking in nature help you ground these huge insights in your body so they become a part of you, not just an idea.
So I want to leave you with this one question. What if that time in your life that felt like a breakdown, what if it was actually a breakthrough in disguise? What if the struggle, the dissolution, the feeling of being totally lost, what if that wasn't a malfunction, but an invitation? An invitation to descend through that doorway of the self and emerge with the wisdom you were always meant to find.